Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Copilot Compass, where each week we take a deep dive into Microsoft 365 Copilot. As always, I have the pleasure of being joined by my esteemed colleague, fellow Copilot enthusiast, and our resident smart guy, Logan.
Thanks, Grant. Happy to be here.
Logan, why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit more about what they can expect from this week's episode?
Yeah, so as always, we'll start with our question of the week. And then we're going to get into our topic, which is Copilot featured agents. So we're going to be exploring some of the ready to deploy solutions that that you can add into your own Copilot. So yeah, I'm excited. It should be fun. Yeah, make sure you stay tuned to the end to get a sneak preview of what we have coming out next. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Awesome. All right, let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's get started with our question of the week. And remember, you can submit your own by a comment on this video or by emailing the email address in the description. So this week, our question is, how do you ensure that your team is fully trained and comfortable using Copilot?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, with Copilot, there's a certain amount of like baseline level of training and education, kind of building the knowledge, so to speak. But then it really comes down to like guided experimentation and encouraging folks to try to do more. So it's kind of like you're biting off little bits at a time. So I think, one of the things, like speaking of like of the training side of things, is to focus first on find some really good early wins. And a lot of times these are some of the more basic use cases of Copilot, like summarizing Teams meetings, summarizing long email threads, using it to draft emails, like some of those things that are going to find, employees will find value in saving 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there throughout the day repeatedly. That's really going to help kind of that stickiness. But, I think what really works well is not trying to do like a full day training course where you go over all of the details and everything Copilot, but more like some of the basics, like good tips and tricks for prompting and kind of coaching them on the science of prompts. And then, again, like those basic use cases in Teams, Outlook, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and especially using that Copilot chat. And then once they have that foundation, give them some time to breathe, let them try it on their own, and then try to foster collaboration amongst the team where like members are pretty open with sharing like, hey, we saw this in the training. I'm taking it one step further by doing this, and I'm finding this helpful. I think they'll do some of that naturally on their own, especially if they're in office or kind of like co-located. But, try to be intentional about finding the opportunities for that collaboration and kind of thought sharing amongst the group. Good ways to do that, like if you have sort of a team stand-up meeting or some kind of a regular meeting, maybe carve out like 5 minutes and just ask people before the meeting, hey, anybody have any cool Copilot, uses that they want to share with the rest of the group? And if nobody does, then okay, fine. But if, I think more often than not, you'll find somebody will raise their hand and say, hey, I'd like to share this, and, have them do a quick 5-minute demo of it, walk them through it. And then, as you continue to grow, or the team continues to get better rather, then supplement with new trainings. Maybe it's like a half hour, an hour of additional thing. It's like, okay, we've already given you the 100 level. Now let's go 200 level. And then in a couple months now we'll go 300. And you can do that a variety of ways. It could be, again, like a just quick 1 hour trainings. It could be supplementing it with, like LMS courses that are more like easy for them to access on their own type of thing. But I think it's really laying the foundation first of not giving them too much right away and making sure what you give them brings value, and then building on top of that as you go. Yeah, I don't know. That was a pretty long-winded answer. I don't even know if I directly answered the actual question, but that's kind of like what we have found to be a successful way to train people to build, not just early, hey, 1 good month of usage, but more that long-term stickiness. So I don't know, anything to add, Logan?
Yeah, no, I think you covered a lot of it. But going back on what you said earlier about like the early wins, I remember from personal experience, that was really huge for me because when I first got my lessons, I was a little bit overwhelmed and I had been doing the things I'd been doing a certain way for a long time. And it wasn't until I got a few of those early wins, some of those basic use cases that I actually wanted to learn more about code
Right. Yeah.
and like wanted to go and, figure out how else it can help me. So I think that's really crucial.
Yeah, I think, you brought up something too. You mentioned like, hey, you're thinking back to your own journey. And I think, like one thing that I wish I would have done more of at the beginning is learning how to prompt correctly. I spent so much time trying to understand what it can and can't do, but not enough time about how I ask it, to help me. So, like I'm thinking back to my early stages, I was doing my prompting like as if I was doing a Bing or a Google search of, short keywords, terms, stuff like that, direct to the point, trying to not overfeed it information. But, the reality is like the use cases where there is real value, you do overcoach. You're very specific what sources you want it to draw from, what is your expectations of the result. So I think that was one thing. And then also, to just summarize it down in 30 seconds would be to tell people to treat it like you're talking to a person, get that you wouldn't, if I run past you in the office and say, "Hey, Logan, I want you to help me with a PowerPoint deck," I'm not just going to say, "Logan, PowerPoint deck, help."
Yeah.
I'm going to explain it to you. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good question. I think,
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we kind of spun it a little bit, but, hope we covered those key points.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about agents. Maybe there's gonna be an agent we can find to help us answer these questions of the week for next week.
There you go. Let's do it.
All right. So today we're gonna talk about agents and Copilot. Now we've done a few different things. We've kind of demoed for you building your own. We're going to today talk about what we're calling featured agents. So in Copilot, there are some agents that are pre-built, ready to deploy. Many of them with some common tools that you might be using outside of the Microsoft suite. So things like Jira, Monday.com, like some of those solutions where there are some kind of pre-made agents like out of the box, ready for you to use and deploy. So we're going to show you how you, as a Microsoft 365 Copilot licensed user, can access these. And we'll show you one or two just so you can see what that experience looks like as adding them on your own. Now, if you are a Copilot chat user, so you don't have the full-blown Microsoft 365 Copilot license, you can still get access to some of these, but it's not like a self-service experience like we're going to show you here today. So getting these tools is going to require you don't have to have, again, you don't have to have a full-blown Microsoft 365 Copilot license, but you do have to have your admin set you up and kind of enable you to get access into these agents, because as a non-licensed user, you're going to be metered. So you're going to be, Microsoft is going to charge you on for either these message packs or on a consumption model. And, the amount that you are consuming per interaction with the agent is going to depend on a variety of factors. But, really the biggest one is going to be what sources are you asking it to pull from? Is it just the web? Is it specific parts of the web, or is it third-party tools, or even your own integrations with SharePoint or Microsoft Graph? So again, long story short is that yes, you can still get the access into some of these tools, as well as ones that you build yourself or ones that somebody's building and deploying for you. But again, metered, gonna rely on that consumption or message pack model. And, that's going to be kind of out of scope from here. But that all being said, if your admin does set this up for you and you do deploy some of these agents, then once you have the agent experience is going to be extremely similar to what Logan and I are going to demonstrate for you today. But again, from here on out, what we're going to demo for you is, as a licensed Microsoft 365 Copilot user, how you can take advantage of some of these featured agents, either deployed for you by the organization, or very simple to just add them in yourself for your own use. So with that, here we go. Let's show you some featured agents.
Let's do it.
All right, so now we're going to show you the user experience of adding your own agents. Or I shouldn't say adding your own, but deploying ones that are pre-built, out of the box, ready to go. And again, this is focused on you, the user. So this is not going to include any explanation of how IT can deploy agents that are ready to deploy across the organization on behalf of employees. This is more like, scenario here is, hey, you are on a project team is using Jira. You'd love to be able to get quick updates from Jira right there in Copilot because you use it so frequently, rather than having to go into Jira itself. Um, and there are a variety of options that are available for you that, again, are out of the box, ready to go. So now I, as a Microsoft 365 Copilot licensed user, am going to have on this right side here, you can see agents as its own category. So there's a few things we'll walk you through here. So this Jira Cloud, this is actually an example of a featured agent that I have added and I use. There's also this Visual Creative. This was deployed, I'm pretty sure was deployed by Microsoft at one of the updates and is just available for you here. And then I can see these ones that are ones that we've actually built in previous Copilot Compass episodes. Now down here, you're going to see the Get Agents and Create an Agent. Now the Create an Agent, this is that no code at all experience where you can use natural language to build your own agents. We've demoed that in a previous episode. If you're interested in learning more about that, please do go back and check that episode out. But what we're going to talk about today is this Get Agents icon that is going to have those pre-built agents that are from Microsoft or third parties. So what I'll go ahead and show you too here is, so if I click on this Get Agents icon, and I'm in the web-based version here, is I'm going to see a series of things here. So I have it by default just popping up these agents. It shows me, in the larger bolded text is the name of the agent. You can see who developed and is deploying the agent. So what's the company? In this case, I'm seeing a lot of third-party ones up here. There is one you can see down here, this career coach that's Microsoft. So I would also see in here that there are built by Microsoft agents. So there are 6 now, anticipating more becoming available, but there's a career coach one. There's that visual creator that was already there. We already saw that in my main page, a learning coach, an idea coach, writing coach, prompt coach. So you can also see there's some, there's a popular category here that does have some of their more common ones. To be honest, I have zero idea what they're using to verify how popular these are. My guess is it's just a number of installations, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, you can do this. This is the web-based version. You're also able to do this directly in Teams. Experience is obviously very similar. So I've still got those same, already deployed agents here. I've still got this Get Agents icon. What I do want to show it for you, though, is that this left pane you'll see is a bit different. So this is all apps, and I am in this agents tab. Now, this looks very similar to kind of that first agents tab we looked at. It's got some popular ones in here. Definitely some popular products that we all can kind of recognize. I think you can see Confluence and Jira in here, both Atlas and, you know, agents, I guess you'd say. You've got Monday.coms in here, ServiceNow. So you've got some of those kind of more common ones. What can get a little bit confusing is if I want to go to, let's say, this category. So I want to look at, okay, I just want Microsoft one. So I want to go built by Microsoft. Now this looks different, right? So you had before, when in the web-based version, when I clicked on those Microsoft agents, it just gave me those 6 agents. Now here, these are apps. So this is where sometimes you might install something you think like, oh, okay, there's a OneNote agent. So I click on this, but this is actually just pinning OneNote into your Teams. It's not an agent specifically for that. So you just, again, have to stick here in this agents tab. Okay. So for the rest of the demo, I'm going to go ahead and just go back to the web-based version. So we'll take a look. So some popular ones in here. There's Zoho Desk. So this one, I know, we're a Zoho shop at our employer. So this is one that might be helpful for us. But you can see that there's a variety of different things in here. Kind of a quick description. Let's say I want to go back here to agents, and let's go ahead and try to click on, we'll pick a Microsoft one to start with. You got a preference here, Logan? You want to do, I'm going to actually limit it down for you. We can either do idea coach, career coach, or prompt. Geez, career, prompt, or idea.
Let's do idea.
Okay. All right. Now, so this will show me once I'm in here, it's going to tell me, okay, what are the permissions that it's going to need? Give me a little bit of an explanation here. We'll go ahead and read through all of this. It's also got an overview of kind of how this works. Show you it's got some screen grabs in there. Sometimes this one looks like it's only got one. What's the features? And then again, it's got that permissions down there at the bottom. So not a whole lot in here. I can copy this link, send it over to somebody else if I want to get them to do it. It's also got this kind of work across icon to show you that it's going to work within Copilot. So I'm going to go ahead and click this add icon. Going to take just, a matter of moments in here. You can see how fast that experience was. Now it pops up right here on the top. It was my most recent one. So the Idea Coach, my first time using the Idea Coach one, have experimented around a little bit with some of the other ones, but this is what you get for letting Logan pick it rather than me pick it. So now we've got something different. So it's going to give me some ideas. So brainstorming exercise. So let's do this. We'll click the brainstorming exercise for my brainstorming session. Let's say we're trying to do, what do you think? Maybe we're brainstorming employee engagement activities.
Yeah.
We are brainstorming employee engagement activities. Let's just start there. All right, so it's looking for some fun exercises for brainstorming sessions. So what are the specific objectives of the exercise? Are you looking to generate new ideas? Okay, so we'll say we want to generate new ideas for activities we can do to improve employee morale. Generating new ideas to improve employee morale is fancy. To help you idea. Okay, so sorry, scrolled on me. To help you do this, I have a few fun and engaging exercises in mind. Here are some exercises that fit into your show. So it's giving me some ideas. So we might do a mind mapping session. It's giving me a layout for it. Brain writing, giving me a layout for that, and a SWOT analysis to do some ideas behind that. Let's say, do all of these work if we are doing this virtual and have a team of 12 that will be involved. See what it says on that. Absolutely, all these can be adapted to a virtual setting. So it's just going to modify it a little bit, potentially here and there. Um, and then maybe let's say, okay, these are good. I want to hear more. So maybe I can ask it, can you suggest some more? And it's giving me, so round robin brainstorm, reverse brainstorming. So very cool. Now we have some ideas on how we might structure a good brainstorming session as we're planning our next employee engagement activity. All right, so this is an example of a Microsoft one. Again, there's 6 of them. Do anticipate more of these to become available. Check them out. That career coach one, I haven't tried it. I've heard it's really cool. I know that the prompting one too is really good. Like, especially if you're a new Copilot user, it can really help coach you. It's prompting you on how to prompt. Like, it's going to tell you, give you feedback, what context you might need to add, what, requirements you might need to make more clear so that it's telling you how to use it, you know, the best of its ability. All right, let's do another one. So this time we'll go back to this get agents icon. And again, it's going to pop up for me here, those, the built by Microsoft, the popular ones. And then there's these agents listed in here. So let's take a quick look through them and see if we've got one that would make sense for us. So you know what? Actually, we'll go ahead and choose, since I know we use Jira at our organization. So this one, I already have it added. So I can see I can open it. Now, this is the other cool thing that it's going to show you. It will show you what else it works across. So it works across Office, Teams, and Outlook. So I can access it there, but I already have it. So I'm just going to open this agent up, and it's got, some ideas for you, some common ones that are all the items signed to me. So maybe I want to ask it specifically, list all items assigned to me that are active, let's say that are not in a completed state. So one thing you didn't see here, since I already had this, is setting this up with your Jira account is really straightforward and simple. It hands holds you through the process, just give it the credentials that you use for Jira, and then it goes right in there and, has access into your Jira account. So it's picked up for me a bunch of items in here showing me, what each of those are. And then, of course, it's as always with Copilot, it's got my link right here that I can click on if I wanted to take a deeper look into, that specific item. So if I just click on this, it should give me a little bit deeper of an analysis here. So it's going to show me there's the framework, it's in progress. So I want to edit the issue, and I can do that right here. Maybe, I've had this come up before too. Like, I say, hey, what are all pending items for me? And it seems to be giving me an issue right now. Please log into your Microsoft Teams first to access this feature in Outlook. Or okay. Let's try that one more time. I'm not sure why that gave us an issue. So we'll go ahead and edit the issue. Okay, there we go. Whew. I thought I was doing something wrong. Okay. Yeah, so this is like the use case. I've used this before too. Like I've said, hey, list for me all of the open items for me or anything assigned to me that's, incomplete or whatever. And then I see something that comes up. It's like, oh, you know what? I knocked that out yesterday. I just forgot to go in and do my normal Jira hygiene efforts. So I can instead of having to, open Jira, go in there, make that change, now I can, quickly update the status. And you can see there's other things I can change too. I can reassign this to somebody else. I can change the label, the priority. There's more fields. Modify the description. I can do any of that right here. So another kind of cool one. There's a lot of your more common, project management tools. Like we already saw, Monday was in there. A lot of them are going to have some agents that can do some similar functions that are really just ready to go. And even you as an end user, if you're licensed with Microsoft 365 Copilot, can use it. So, do really encourage you, like if you're feeling pretty good about your knowledge level, the skills that you have with Copilot, you're ready to do a little bit more. And especially if you're using third-party tools like, like Jira quite often, really encourage you to go around, go through this, those locations we showed you and take a look at those agents that are available for you and ready to go. In today's journey of the Copilot Compass, we talked about pre-built out-of-the-box agents. So we showed you how you can quickly add ready-to-deploy agents. We showed you that you can add those as a user, both in, the web-based version as well as, directly there in Teams, which is, kind of the experience I'm a little bit more familiar with. We did show you a few things to look out for that you can fairly easily end up on just apps rather than agents alone, but we showed you that there's 6 Microsoft agents that are available for you now. There's also a number of third-party agents that are available that can, really allow you to bring that Copilot experience to your third-party tools that you might be using for, project management, marketing, go-to-market strategy, any of those kind of common scenarios. And we hope you found some value in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would highly encourage anybody to, yeah, just go in there and check out what agents are available. There might be a piece of software that you use every day and there's already a pre-made agent just sitting there waiting that could really help them out. So, yeah, just go take a look. But yeah, that was fun. So if you enjoyed, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Remember, we have our Q&A sessions. So make sure you leave a comment on this video or email the email address in the description. And remember, new episodes are released each Tuesday, and stay tuned for a sneak preview of what we have out next.
Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.